This is me attempting to start a weekly pregnancy video update thing. Whether or not I manage to do every week, we will see, but this is me attempting to begin. Just breathing is making the beanbag rattle. If you've watched any of my other videos, you've probably seen or noticed that I'm pregnant. I've been wanting to do weekly videos, but my week starts on a Saturday. And Saturday just happens to be the day that we're always either doing something all day or Luke's home, and I feel weird talking to a camera when Luke's here. I don't know why him being here makes me feel weird about it, but it does. I'm not really sure what to say. Like, in the future videos I can easily just do a quick summary of my symptoms for that week, but in this first video there's so much to get out about my pregnancy. I guess I'll just start by reading a little, just snippets of week 25 from this Your Pregnancy Week by Week book. This is the American version. I actually got it for $2 in Salvos, and it's like $40 brand new, so I just got it. It's the 6th edition, so it's semi-newish, but it's got a lot of American stuff in it. Week 5, we're a bit past that one. So yeah, I'll go to week 25 and just see what we're at. I do know that my uterus is meant to be the size of a soccer ball, which explains a lot of the symptoms I've started feeling, especially over the last week. Week 24, week 25. Okay, so your baby now weighs 700 grams about, and crown to rump length is about 22 centimeters. I'm pretty sure baby's just over a foot if you include like head to toes. Remember, these are average lengths and weights and vary from one baby to another and from one pregnancy to another. There was a lady I know about that just had her 2 twins at 24 weeks and 1 day. And despite the fact that most of the time you think twins, you think they're going to be smaller than the average baby, they were both over 800 grams, and that was at 24 weeks 1 day as a set of twins. So that was pretty impressive. I haven't checked Instagram today, but they've been doing well, and I think they've been going for a good couple of days now. Maybe they're getting close to a week. I don't know how quick time's flown by, but yeah. But it's cute because I can sort of see them and see how big my actual baby is, because we're about the same stage sort of thing. By this week of pregnancy, your uterus has grown quite a bit. I'm trying to make a video and the cats are just trying to bang their way into the room. But because we're in a rental, we can't really do much. So baby's room and our bedroom, the doors don't shut. They don't like latch. Our bedroom, it's not such a big deal. Millie can open it, but the cats can't. Just because the carpet is like too high for the door, so the door gets stuck on it, so it pretty much latches. So we can lock the cats out, which is good. But for baby's room, there's a good like gap between the carpet and the door, so it just swings open, and the cats always try to get in here. They love this room. The top of the uterus is about halfway between your belly button and the lower part of your sternum. Which is about right. I think mine's a little bit higher than halfway. Let me think. Oh no, yeah, mine is higher than halfway. It was just literally yesterday that I finally got kicked in the ribs for the first time. I was like, ow. So yeah, that was a milestone for me. One I would have actually not minded if I didn't hit. But anyway, baby can kick my ribs. Changes in you. Itching. I actually haven't got that much itching. I get really itchy legs, but I've had that before pregnancy. It's not a pregnancy related thing for me. But yeah, I haven't got too much itching in like my skin and my belly and back and stuff. Though my skin does feel really tight, so I can see how it would itch. But then I've been moisturizing my belly and like ribs and everything for a while now, so maybe that's why I haven't got the itching. But yeah, that was boring. I hoped that would have like a list of symptoms and I could say yes or no as to whether I got them or not. As of the last week, the biggest problem I've had is pain, like aching pains from the stretching. It's like the weight of my tummy pulling forwards and down is making all the top of my ribs and all across my back so sore. So that's come up, that specifically has come up the last week-ish. I still have really bad hip pain, but I've had that since fairly early on. I remember in my first trimester even, I was struggling a lot with hip pain, especially my left hip. I ended up going to a physio a couple of times, but it was getting too expensive. So yeah, that's been a constant throughout, but I definitely feel some days the pressure on my hips is a lot more, on both hips, and my belly is always really heavy. Yesterday Luke actually got me a pregnancy girdle, I think that's what they're called. It's like the thicker fabric belt. It's just up there. I might go get it later and show you guys, but it has really helped. It helps my back more than my belly. I don't really like the way it feels on my belly, but it helps my back so much. It like flattens out my hips and supports my hips and when I'm walking and stuff. So I'm really glad for that. I'm also going to try and do some rock tape across my ribs. Don't know how I'm going to do that yet, especially because I can't really apply it. Luke has to, and he's not very good at doing that sort of stuff. But I'm going to try it because my rib pain is probably the worst pain at the moment to deal with. I have got low iron, so especially the last 2 days I've been getting really, really dizzy. I've been getting really faint the whole time because I had low blood pressure before I had low iron. Now I've got low iron as well. So that's sort of a constant I'm used to. I've had low iron pre-pregnancy, and low blood pressure, so it's something I'm used to. It bothers me when I have a headache or need to get something done. That's when it gets too much, but if it's just like the low blood pressure or iron symptoms, I'm fine with it. I can just get over it. I know how to deal with it. I know how not to push myself too far. I can move on. I've been getting leg cramps, but I never really got leg cramps ever before pregnancy, maybe one. And then I remember getting my first one at the start of pregnancy and was like, what the hell is this? But yeah, I've been getting them more frequently. Like every night I'll have to be pretty much half awake and just aware of how tense my legs are getting and making sure that when I go to roll over I don't move them a certain way or I'll get a really bad cramp. Oh my god, my nose is itchy. Is that a symptom? Because that's been happening lately. But yeah, the last couple of days the leg cramps have gotten worse, so I have started magnesium tablets. You should see, I might show you all the tablets I'm taking at the moment, because basically my bloods came back and I'm anemic at the moment, so I'm taking double dose of iron tablets a day. I'm also vitamin D deficient, so I'm taking a tablet of that a day. I'm taking magnesium to help with my leg cramps, which is fine. That's okay and quite normal in pregnancy. I also was taking ifolic, which is an iodine folic acid combination from the start of my pregnancy, because I started on Elevit but it was making me really sick, so I switched to ifolic instead. But now my midwife has gone and told me to go back to Elevit, or like a pregnancy multivitamin. But I just bought a whole bottle of ifolic, so I'm like, oh. So I rang my aunt up, who's an old midwife, and she says if you're still eating healthy, just finish your bottle of ifolic. Like, you've got all this other stuff covering the things you're deficient in, you should be okay. So I'm finishing the ifolic, and then also Luke's aunt got me like a bottle of DHA. I think it was a sample bottle, but I've been going through that as well, just because I have it and it's meant to be good for babies. I don't actually know what it does. I did Google it, but I've forgotten. So, but yeah, so it's like I take and a pregnancy probiotic. So I like have this big handful of pills, and I can swallow them all at once. There's no evil pills in there, but it looks pretty bad. Shortness of breath is a big one. I've sort of had it the whole time. I don't know if it was the hormones, but it is getting worse now. Like, I actually struggle to go upstairs, not because of sometimes because of hip pain and stuff, but mainly because I can't breathe. Like, I have to pause and take a few breaths. I feel like I need new glasses really badly, but apparently pregnancy hormones, the relaxin that helps relax your like all your muscles and joints so that your hips can get wider to have a baby, makes sense, is not specific for your hips and pelvis. So it makes your feet get bigger, it makes all your body ache and all jiggly, and you feel really weird. But it also apparently relaxes your eye muscles, so you can have trouble focusing. But yeah, there's no point me going and getting new glasses because I'll probably need to get them as soon as Hayden's born anyway. But yeah, so I think that's it for symptoms. Like I'm just getting like minor of everything except itching. And then like some things I'm getting a bit more of, and then some things I'm getting major of, such as like hip pain, back pain, that sort of stuff. Headaches have been constant. I don't know. Because this is my first vlog of my symptoms, I'll add in like what affected me at the beginning, which was probably the nausea was a big one. There was only one occasion where I actually threw up, and that was when I was on antibiotics as well, which is like the last time I was on antibiotics I threw up like it's a common thing. I am really badly reacting to antibiotics. I didn't throw up much, only the one time, but I did, like I was on the verge of throwing up pretty much the entire time. I could barely sleep through it. I lost a lot of weight at the beginning because I couldn't eat because I felt like I was throwing up. I think I lost 4 kilos in a couple of days. And then once I realised I lost that much weight that quickly, I was like, crap, and focused on putting the weight back on. I need to go to the toilet, one second. It's really hard getting up and down off this ground, just saying. But, no, out. I was also getting really bad headaches a lot, but that could have been due to the low blood pressure and or my low iron. It definitely was a lot worse back then. Also the fatigue. I remember before I even got pregnant, I fell asleep in class, which was not like me, especially when the class was 6 people. Like it was obvious that I fell asleep, but I was struggling so much to stay awake. It was a subject I enjoyed. I feel really bad, like I feel like I should go back to the lecture and be like, I enjoyed your class, but I didn't know I was pregnant, so I'm sorry that I fell asleep. But anyway, and I would struggle to stay awake at work. Like I just could not keep my eyes open. Once work finished, it was alright because then I could actually afford to take a nap, and it's starting to hit again. Like I'm starting to get to the point where I really struggle to focus and pay attention. It could have something to do with my low iron as well. I know I used to get like that at school when I was low on iron, and at uni when I was low on iron. So I don't know. I don't know if it's pregnancy or not, or both. Pretty sure it's a mixture of both, but yeah. I feel like there was so many symptoms that I've just forgotten about and they've just washed away. I was very constipated at the beginning. I still get constipated, but I've been constipated my whole life, so I'm used to it. But at the beginning it was severe. But yeah, I guess that's it. Pregnancy story. That is definitely something I should probably add in. I had Implanon in until January. I hadn't had a period the entire time I was on Implanon, and because of my endometriosis, and which was undiagnosed at that point, so because of problems with my period, my doctor was like, maybe you should go off the Implanon for a bit, let your body readjust to having cycles, and then we'll go from there. So I went off the Implanon back in January. In January, I was working away on a farm, and I had a really bad UTI to the point where I was literally going to the toilet, walking out the toilet door and peeing myself because I had no bladder control. It was extremely painful to go to the loo. It was the most frustrating and embarrassing thing. Like peeing yourself as a young adult is just not pleasant. Urine was really good for that though. It helps with symptoms. It does not treat the cause, but definitely helps. Tastes disgusting, but whatever. I went to a doctor because I'd had UTIs recurrent in the past, sort of thing. I got my Implanon out, got on antibiotics for the UTI, stuff like that. But yeah, he basically said that they could find blood in my urine, but no real traces of bacteria to be causing the UTI. The cats are trying to get in again. So yeah, I got sent to get an ultrasound, but I'm pretty sure they couldn't see any problems with the abdominal ultrasound. So the guy doing the ultrasound was like, look, they're probably going to send you back here for a pelvic ultrasound. We have a free time slot at the moment, so would you like to opt to have it done now? He was really nice. Like, most of the time they won't do that, I've learned since then. But I was like, yep, just do it. I want to know. I want to get it done and out of the way. I don't want to have to come back again. So yeah, he did a pelvic ultrasound, which I'm now very used to. They get done a lot on me, which is not cool, but anyway. And there was a huge cyst on one of my ovaries, and I was like, I've been getting pain there for so long, but because I had undiagnosed endometriosis, it was normal pain for me. And he says that because they couldn't see anything on my abdominal ultrasound, which I had as a kid, they obviously don't do pelvic ultrasounds on a kid. I guess there would be medical reasons to do it, but yeah, you generally know. But yeah, he said it could have been there for ages. Is it causing problems? Go see your doctor. I'll tell your doctor about it. Your doctor can go through it with you. And I basically saw my doctor and was like, can we please get this removed, because I have had so much problems with pain in this area, and if this is the reason, I want it gone. And he was like, yeah, it's obviously been there a while. These things usually go away on their own, and this one's just getting bigger instead. So I'll book you in to get it removed. So then I went, and I ended up opting for private and using mum's health insurance, just because the waiting list for public was, I think it was at 7 months was the earliest I could even see an obstetrician, gynecologist, whichever one I saw. Obviously a gynecologist. I don't know why I'd see an obstetrician. But I got it removed. I had a laparoscopy. Why can't I think of words right now? They cut a couple of holes in my stomach, 3 holes, just little ones. I don't know what the third one was for, but one was for a camera, one was for like pinchy things. I guess the other one for more pinchy things, I don't know. But yeah, they looked around with the camera and burnt the cyst off my ovary. By the time I actually went in for the surgery, even though it had only been a month, I'd already grown another cyst. So I had 2 removed. I don't know if they were from the same ovary or if they were from different ovaries. The guy didn't tell me. He just said that there ended up being 2 cysts in there. Cats. I gotta try and remember where the hell I left off, because my card got full. I just went to switch cards, and my other card had stuff on it, so I had to see if I could delete it or not. I could, but like that involved sorting. When I came back, all the animals had broken into the room, so then I had to get them out, and they were not behaving whatsoever. And then as soon as I sat down to record, Luke comes in, and then he needed to pee, and then I didn't want peeing sounds because the toilet is right there, and then he flushed and the water took forever to fill up and made a very loud sound while it did so. Now I have no idea where I'm up to. But yeah, basically I got my 2 cysts removed, some polyp on my endometriosis, on my endometrium, which is basically the lining of your uterus. I had, I think, a 32-day cycle, a 33-day cycle, a 34-day cycle, and I was like, wow, my periods are regular. This is the first time this has ever happened to me. And then the next one was in the 50s. I know it was getting close to 60 days long, and my doctor was starting to get worried. My cycles had gone back to irregular, and I basically found these medications that help regulate your blood, your cycles. They improve circulation, stuff like that. They're really good for women's health, I guess, especially if you're like me and have irregular cycles. So I started trying them. I had no idea at the time that they're actually also used to help increase fertility, but they obviously worked because we somehow accidentally got pregnant whilst I was using them. So I just can't believe we got pregnant. I'm still in awe over, I don't know if awe is the right word, but we'll go with awe over the fact that that's possible, when I was told, like, when you want to start trying for kids, you probably have to go see a fertility specialist and all this stuff. I was warned before I went in for my operation that the operation can make you even more infertile than you already are. It automatically stops recording and I never know when it actually stopped recording. The week before I had really bad period like pains. I was so shocked because it had been less than 3 weeks since my last period, so I was like, why the hell is my period coming? What is going on? This is after, considering my last cycle was almost 60 days, I was like, a 21-day cycle? What is this? Now realizing it was probably implantation and I had no clue. I don't know why it hurt so much. Maybe because of my endometriosis, my actual endometrium was not coping with being implanted in. I have no idea. I didn't bleed or anything. Friday, Saturday, I got the really bad cramping. Tuesday, I was really tired. I actually fell asleep in class on Tuesday. By Thursday, I had a really bad head cold. So I was like, that's why I was tired. I had a head cold. I was getting, my immune system was down. I was getting a head cold. My immune system was trying to fight the head cold I was getting. That's why I was tired. I put it down to that. On Friday I went out with my family and that's when the nausea started. I couldn't really eat much. I think I managed to get potato gems and that's the only thing I could feel like eating. I actually went back to my mum's house afterwards and she jokingly was like, you're not pregnant again, are you? In that 60-day cycle I went into hospital for something else and they tested me for pregnancy and I was like, you don't need to test me because my doctor literally tested me like the other day because of my large cycles. She had to, and mum's like, oh, so you're not pregnant then? I was like, no mum, I'm not pregnant. So yeah, on Friday she was like jokingly, oh, so you're pregnant again? And I was like, no. Saturday morning I woke up and I almost threw up Weet-Bix and that's when I was like, crap. For some reason the first thought that went through my head was, crap, what if I'm pregnant and I can't eat Weet-Bix for 9 months? Like that was the thought that went, oh, I don't know. That was my biggest fear in the moment. Thank goodness I can eat Weet-Bix now. It was just a momentary thing. I took a pregnancy test and I think there was a really faint line. And I was just like line eyes, like I couldn't see if there was a line there or not. So I was like, oh, whatever, I'll just wait a bit. I'll wait a couple of days. It's fine. I'm probably not pregnant anyway. But yeah, and then Saturday night was when I took another test and came out, was like, babe, there's a line, there's 2 lines, I'm pregnant. Like, I think I just sat down and showed him. I don't even remember, to be honest. He didn't even believe it at first. It wasn't until like I went and got first response one, because these ones were just, I think I was taking ovulation predictor kits to help track my cycle and it was cheaper to get like 100 ovulation predictor kits that came with a pack of 40 pregnancy tests. But yeah, it wasn't until I got the first response kit that Luke was like, crap, that is a line. But yeah, I think I found out on Saturday that night. I sent the picture of the positive test to Mika. She happened to be just up the road at the shops up the road for late night shopping on a Saturday. That doesn't make sense, but she was up the road near the shops, so I don't know what she was doing. But yeah, Mika was just up the road, so she stopped by and it was sort of surreal. Like, no one knew what to say. We sort of just ignored it. Basically, it was an accidental pregnancy. I was not good financially. Me and Luke had only been living together for what, like, I got pregnant. I found out, I got my positive, like, what the hell am I thinking? October. September 15th was the start of my last period. So that's when you start measuring weeks, but I didn't actually get pregnant till 2 weeks after that. And I didn't get my positive till 2 weeks after that again. So it was like the middle of October that I actually got my positive. And me and Luke only moved in together in in August. It was stressful as hell. We were in a house paying for stuff and neither of us had a job. I was going to uni, he was on job seeker and had been unemployed for over 12 months. It was really stressful. I still had uni to deal with. It was a really bad semester for uni for me. I actually failed 2 units, which is crazy. I wasn't very good at the units to begin with, and then I also started a job right before exams, which was super stressful. I was in my first trimester. I was super duper sick starting the job and sitting the exams. So it's like I'd come home from my job and have a day to study and I just couldn't even move. It was not good financially or educational wise. So of course, when I told everyone, it did not go down well. Mum wished I didn't tell her at work, but I actually told her at work because she works with her best friend. So I wanted her to be able to rant to her best friend and talk to her best friend, but apparently it was a really stressful day at work that day, which I didn't know at the time. So they didn't get a chance to talk at all. At first, when I told my mum, she was amazing about it. I don't know what I was expecting, but I was expecting her to be so disappointed, but she was actually really amazing about it. She said, "We'll support you no matter what. Just think of these things and think of these things, and don't worry, you got a little bit of time to figure out what you want to do. I'll support you, blah blah blah." And that was that. I went home, and then either that night or the next night, I can't remember, she rang up and was like, "I'm sorry, I know I said I'd support you, but I just can't. I've thought about it and I can't do it." I freaked out. I didn't realise, but she meant financially. I think it dawned on her that my sister's almost 18 now and she couldn't be giving Sky everything Sky needed whilst also helping me with what I needed, and she wasn't in a good place financially herself, and I think it dawned on her how stressful it would be to support me financially. Problem is the financial bit of the conversation sort of got lost between us. So I thought she meant just in general. I thought she was saying, "I can't support your decision." She kept pressing me for an abortion because of my financial situation. I call it abortion, but I know a lot of people don't like that word. My mum didn't like that word. Luke at the time also wanted me to get an abortion because he just was like, "No, not ready. I'm not ready. We're not ready. This can't happen. I don't want to tell anyone." Family wise, like everyone pretty much wanted me to get an abortion, but I was like, I cannot get an abortion. I can't remember my exact reasoning as to why I didn't get an abortion. I think there are times when the choice to abort is abused, but I also think there's times when it's the right choice for some people. But for me, it wasn't the right choice. I don't know what was going through my head, but I couldn't get an abortion, and I basically sent an email to my mum saying that I understood she couldn't support me, but yeah, we had a huge fight, was the moral of the story. She read that email at like midnight one night, and then all of a sudden it was the middle of the night. I think it went to about 2 a.m, but middle of the night, I had work the next day, and all of a sudden there's all these different people calling me, and grandma's ringing me saying, "Ring your mother, she's freaking out." And I was like, what is she freaking out about? Because I'd sent this email days before. She hadn't read her emails for ages, and I was like, just woken up. I had no idea what was going on. And yeah, mum was in tears and I couldn't get through to her. She was shutting me down, I was shutting her down. Me and mum fought for a while. Eventually grandma made us go meet up at the Ellenbrook shops, just random shopping centre. She was like, "Go to the shops, both of you, meet up, talk, get over yourselves." We met at the coffee club and tried talking, and it didn't work. I ended up being unable to just stay in the situation. I left. That obviously made it worse. In the end, grandma just said, "Knock your bloody heads together and get over this because you two need each other and you're being ridiculous." That's pretty much what we did. We hugged it out very awkwardly because I don't like hugs, but we did it. Picked up Sky, who was very confused because she'd actually, in the middle of the fight, mum had to run her to her dance class. So like she left when we were like the worst fight of our lives and came back, and I actually went with mum to pick her up, and like me and mum are chatting and she's like, "What the hell happened to you two?" But yeah, that was probably the worst reaction, was between me and my mum. I don't think the rest of the family got a chance to react because we were having such a bad fight between us, but that's all past now. Me and my mum are good. It's to the point where everyone's like, okay, this is happening. Let's get excited about it. Now everyone's going over the top with excitement. Sorry, I got distracted by the cat meowing. The other big person to tell was Dad. He actually took it really well. I thought he would be way worse than Mum. But I think I had more time to plan with Dad. I went and found a bib that said Grandpa's biggest fan or something, and a card that said congratulations on your grandson or something along those lines. And I wrote in the card and put it in a bag, and then made my sister bring Dad out to meet him. And I think we met in Midland. We went to the chicken place that I can't think of the name of, and then we went shopping, and then I was like running out of time and was meant to be telling him. Finally I like got in the back of his car, even though my car was parked next door, and was like, hold on Dad, I have a present to give you and something to say. And I gave him the present, and he opened the bib first and was like staring at it for way too long, and then he was like, are you pregnant? And I'm sitting there like, yeah. And then he was like, I'm gonna be a grandpa? And he was actually so like amazed at that fact. I still cannot get over it. Like I expected a bad reaction from pretty much everyone, but I like, he's my dad, he's meant to have a really bad reaction, and he actually was really, really happy about it at first. I was so confused. He ended up ringing me up either late that night or the next morning. My parents seem to be good at doing that. And I was, my phone was ringing, and I was sitting there like, oh no, it's sunken in that, it's sunken in, he's ringing up to be like mad now. And I answered, and he was like, I forgot to ask, was it planned? And I was like, no, it wasn't planned. And he was like, oh, so how's Luke doing? Is Luke okay? And I was like, he's getting there, yeah, it's a bit stressful, like, blows my mind. But anyway, uni took it really well. There's a lady at uni, she was a unit coordinator for a unit I did ages ago, but she's really, really lovely lady, and she's helping me through the whole thing. Like, she was like, okay, don't need to do these units, do these units, talk to this person about this and this person about that, and oh, congratulations. And like, she's really good, so she's helping me through the whole thing. Luke didn't tell his mum until after I'd gotten past the 12-week mark, because there was a good chance I would miscarry because of my endometriosis problems. I reached 12 weeks about the time of my birthday, which was in November, end of November, so he didn't actually want to tell his mum until after Christmas, because last Christmas was when he first suggested moving out, and his mum got really upset about it and was like, why would you tell me this at Christmas? Like, you sort of just ruined Christmas because I don't want you to move out right now. So he was like, great, I ruined last Christmas and had a fight with mum last Christmas, and now right before Christmas I'm going to tell her I'm expecting a baby. I think he ended up telling her before Christmas after all anyway, but maybe he didn't, maybe he did wait till after. But he did eventually tell her. I can't remember, but I made him buy her something as a present, same as the way I did it with my dad. And he told her, and she basically called him an idiot. And it wasn't a good initial reaction, but she came around really quickly, and now she's very excited for a grandchild. I can't believe it, but that is how I got pregnant. Oh my gosh, I've gotten up and down so much. So I can just take this off because I have a proper bra on. Don't judge this bra, it's a bloody maternity one, and they have the most stupid, like, weirdest patty things in the middle. They're just the wrong shape for a boob. But I feel like it covers more than my bikini. So Luke also got me this, which like has a spot for a heat ice pack that came with it. So you can have it either hot or cold, but it like straps under here, and it's meant to help support your belly. I don't know if I do it right, but it does support my back, so I don't care. Suck in. Oh, that's really uncomfortable. Anyway, that's my belly.